Hey guys, thanks for watching. Scott from Journal Adventures here. This is going to be the first overnighter I've spent in the canvas cabin, and I'm doing it with my one Vizsla Scout. Ridge got voted off the island. He's not making this trip, and in all seriousness, the reason is that having been in the tent a few times, it's a little small for two dogs, especially two dogs that are as hyper as mine. I have two Vizslas if you haven't been watching, but if you haven't, then you should be, because I think this is the 4th or 5th video. And basically this is turning into a long-term review of a 3-meter bell tent, and it's a canvas tent. I have a wood stove in there. I know the wood stove is bigger than I need, but I also have a bigger tent coming, and I want to be able to use the stove for either tent. And this is the big test. Prior to this outing, all my videos have been in pretty mild weather. 0 degrees I think was really the coldest. I have yet to stay out overnight, and this is going to be the first time staying overnight. Interesting to see how it holds up. We've had a lot of snow, and we had a warm spell where it actually, it was -20 for a while. We got a lot of snow, and then it warmed up. Typical Southern Ontario, warmed up one day, it rained, and then it dropped down again to -10, -15 degrees, and then -20 with the wind chill. Calling for snow overnight, and all day tomorrow. We're supposed to get quite a bit, so hopefully I'll be out here in a snowstorm tomorrow when we wake up, and me and Scout have a nice breakfast, and we'll see how the morning is. So I hope you enjoy the videos. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe for more videos. If you enjoy this video, please hit the like button. I really appreciate that. And if you have any audio problems, I've had some challenges lately on my last few videos, so please leave me a comment and let me know if you had any audio problems whatsoever. I'm trying to solve the problem there. Okay, thanks a lot, and cheers. I'm settled now. I got a little bit of video recording in before it got dark. Me and Scott are ready to get inside the tent. I'm going to move this guy line. It's in the way. I usually do that every time I leave. But I walked around the tent. For the most part, it's held up pretty good. It's sagging a little bit. And once I get the stove going, I'm going to be curious to see the snow and the dampness on the canvas, what happens to that, if it really starts to melt, or we get a lot of any water in the tent or not. So stand by and we'll see. Alright, of course the guy line is in a bunch of ice, so I'm going to see if I can smash it with the back of my axe. If not, I'll just have to live with the guy line there. It's actually in there pretty good, and I don't want to break the plastic on it, so I'm just going to live with it for today. As you can see, Scout doesn't leave me be very long. Okay, let's get inside and see how things held up. Okay, this is in the tent. Everything's pretty much how I left it. The walls have definitely sagged a little bit. You see the snow coming off here. Let's see if you can see that. So I'm going to try to give everything a shake. So it definitely, even though the guidelines have even though the guidelines look like they're still tight, the tent definitely has sagged in a little bit. So I've lost a little space. I'm not sure if I can tighten the guidelines or not, but my first priority is getting the stovepipe up. And it's cold. Scout's getting cold already, so I'm gonna get her up on the cot. I'm gonna put her in the sleep bag and get this fire going. Oh. You getting cold, Scouter? You getting cold? Okay, come on, Scout. Up you go. There you go. Good girl. Good girl, Scouter. Good girl. All right, I'm gonna put you in a sleeping bag. Okay, and I want to get a fire going. Sound like a plan? Okay. So as you can see, I told you Scout wasn't a cold weather dog, so we got her wrapped up in a sleeping bag already. I'm gonna get a fire going. She's gonna curl up in there. Hey, Scouter. And then we're gonna try these lights on here. Let's see if they work. See what kind of lights. Oh, that's not too bad. There we go. We'll keep those on, see what they do. I think they already gave me a little light on Scout. Okay, I gotta get the stovepipe up. The fabric is frozen and crisp, and I don't want to break it, but I got to make sure this is strapped up properly. If it falls against the pipe in the middle of the night, I'll be in trouble. Whew, that's cold. Okay. This is going to be my biggest challenge yet, making a video. It's really small. I can't leave the door open. It's very cold. Scout's wrapped up in a sleeping bag. I got to get a fire going, so that's my main priority right now. This is kind of reality. I've been coming and going in some mild weather, but I wouldn't say I'm panicking, but trying to video and trying to get a fire going is taking longer than I wanted to. It's dark now, so I have some lighting issues to worry about. Once I get a fire going, I'll be able to slow down and give you guys more of an update what's going on. Whew. Very nice, Scouter. Very nice and cozy. All right. Got the flue open. Go. Okay. All right, looks like I got a good fire going. I think I gotta shut the door and get things a little more organized. There's just a ton of steam coming off the canvas right there. I don't know if you can see it or not. Okay, this is a ton of work to get things going as far as trying to record this and get it set up. Getting the fire going was fairly straightforward. It's very cold. I got the door open now because, quite frankly, I heated up the stove way too much and it was way too hot in here. I actually brought a thermometer to show you the heat difference between in here and outside, so I'll do that a little bit later. One thing I wanted to show you, I'm going to show you everything that works out and everything that doesn't work out. So here are my leather gloves. This wasn't too bright. I left them in a pile of snow inside the tent, and I wasn't thinking. They were probably covered in snow when I left them in here, and then they froze. So I would like to adjust the stovepipe, and it's the whole reason why I have the leather gloves, but I'm not going to be able to do that. So I'm going to try to defrost these, but they're frozen solid. Like this is not going to be a quick thing. And so you can hear that I just put them on the plate. So that's my leather gloves. But the fire's going. It's more than warm in here right now. Like I said, I got the door open, so I'm going to film a little bit. But it's been a lot of work. I don't even know what time it is now. It's we haven't even had dinner yet. I figured it was going to be a while, and well, it's not too bad. It's only 6:30, so I'm gonna get things organized. There's a ton of snow in here. The floor of the tent looks like it held up pretty well. So if you like this idea, what I got going with the canvas tent, and you want to take your dog, just be prepared. Make sure you got a sleep. If she's not a cold weather dog like mine's not, make sure you got a sleeping bag for her to jump into. And yes, she's good now. She was fine while I was getting the fire going. But because I was worried I got too big of a fire going, and I actually got some smoke in the tent. Last time I did it perfect. There wasn't any smoke in the tent, but this time around I had to open the doors and air it out. It was just way too much. And again, I know this stove is way too big for this tent. So it's a little trial and error, but I really just need a small fire in here to heat this up. So I'm letting this one burn down a little bit, and then we're gonna get cooking because I'm getting hungry. And yeah, this is there's no hiking back to the truck. We got to survive out here, so we got lots of food, and I'm getting thirsty actually too. I don't think sometimes in the cold you remember to drink, so feel like I'm a little dehydrated. I packed in some Nalgene's full of water, so we're going to take care of that too. Whew. One thing I am a little bit worried about is how much wood I'm going to go through tonight. It's going to be down to minus 20 almost, and I have a 0-degree sleeping bag with the intention of keeping this warm. So if I have to go in the middle of the night and chop some more wood, or hopefully this little bit of wood here will get me through the night. So we'll see. My lighting problem. I don't know if you can see this here, but this is that light is a Peter McKinnon trick. It's I forget the name of the light, but I'll put it in the link. It's for photography, that sort of thing, and I have it on my GoPro clamp. So I just clamped it to the top of the tent pole, and I got it shooting down, and so that's gonna be my workspace. So that's pretty good lighting, so I'm pretty happy with that. Okay. The biggest challenge. Let's see here. I don't know if you can see me here. Okay, I'm down. As you can see, I'm down to my smart wool shirt, and so it's certainly warm enough. It's minus. I don't know, it was minus 10, minus 15 when we got in here, and I brought this in. I mean, this only says that it's just 2 degrees. I don't know, it's above freezing. It's above freezing in here, but quite frankly, it feels warmer than that. And it's about 6:30, like 6:45, and I got to get some dinner ready. But it's pretty cozy in here. If you had this tent and you didn't have to have 2 tripods on the go and worry about lighting and stuff like that, the lighting here, that is going to work out great. And I have a battery pack that I'll be able to charge that, so that'll make filming good. I have my fry pans and stuff. I'm trying to melt these. It's going to be a bit. So lesson number 1: don't leave my leather gloves lying around covered in snow. Again, because this base camp thing, I'm coming and going, and when I leave, I'm making a point to make sure I have everything put away the way I think it should be, but I screwed up big time with the leather gloves. But another thing to learn, I had way too big of a fire when I first got in here, you know, thinking that it's really cold, and I was panicking a little bit that I wanted to make sure it was warm in here. But no worries now. I really didn't need that big of a fire at first. It does not take long to heat up in here. Scouter, you getting hungry? Ooh, ooh, you getting hungry? I'm getting hungry. Oh, and also I brought a beer. So I mentioned I was dehydrated, so I'm going to have a little bit of water and then I'm going to have a beer. So for dinner we're going to do some sausage and some grill some onions, grill some green peppers with that. Let's see how these go. I got 5 sausages here. I'll share some with Scout. So it'll be interesting to see how much sleep I get maintaining the fire. Like I said, I really haven't done this before, so we'll find out, and you'll find out with me what kind of night we have. Restful, because I got to keep it warm in here. Like I said, I got a sleeping bag that can't handle the cold that it's going to drop down to tonight. That's the whole idea of the tent, right? Keep it warm. I'm probably going to have to go split some more wood. Normally I would trust my leather gloves. They're a frozen block of ice, so that's not going to help. So I'm working around the stove, and it's warm here, but my back is, I can really feel the cold on my back. Now granted, I just have a long sleeve shirt on, so that's not too bad, but I'm trying to give you guys updates on how the tent is, how it feels. And realistically, if you got one of these, if you're going to use it in the winter, what are you going to expect, right? So, yeah, I mean, really, what do you, minus 15 degrees Celsius behind me, and all it is a piece of canvas with a gap in the bottom of the floor. So I guess I expect it to be a little cold there. Fire. I just got one small piece of wood in there burning, so I can always put my fleece back on. Let's go in here. Yeah, this is going to be a video about temperature regulation and maintaining a comfortable temperature in here. Yeah, really, how much work is it going to be? Your paw's hanging off there. Huh? You're nice and cozy. Well, as I expected, things are much more calmer just with Scout here. Ridge does curl up at the end of the night, but I think it is definitely a one-dog tent. Especially when you got dogs like mine. Although there's got to be room for me on there somewhere, Scout. Oh. What you think, huh? Well, guys, thanks for joining me on this little journey of mine. My base camp, my canvas cabin base camp, as I like to call it. I've been reading your comments now because when I've made this video, my other videos have been up, and some of them I've read the comments on. And it's nice to see that people are enjoying it and getting a sense of it's something they want, or some people think it's a good idea, and or some people just enjoy it anyway. So it's really nice reading comments. I really appreciate it from everybody. One thing to come out here with your dog and camp, winter camp, but trying to make a video and trying to do a good job of it is a lot of work. It certainly adds to the whole adventure, and I'm glad to see people are appreciating it and enjoying the videos. I like making them. Yeah, I don't know about bringing anyone else out here, to be honest with you. I was thinking about bringing Griff. I still might. It would take some modifying things in here. If I brought Griff, we wouldn't be able to use the cot. we'd have to sleep on the ground. I'm cooking sausage, but in the interest of time, and I'm starving, I'm going to slice them into little bits and cook them up that way, just to speed things up a bit. Definitely not supposed to do that for sausage, but doesn't do much for my knife blade either, cutting the sausage on my cast iron fry pan. But I'm starving. It's cold. I wanted to keep dinner fairly straightforward, so I thought sausages and some grilled onions and peppers would be easy. So that's what we're doing. And I got a little bit of a carrot sort of bean salad here too I'm going to eat. Scout's going to get some of the sausages with me. We got 5 here, so I'm certainly not going to eat all those. But yeah, it's very comfortable in here. The thermometer is reading about 5 degrees Celsius right now. It's just sitting on the bed there. So 5 degrees Celsius, about a 20-degree difference, I guess, from outside in here. And it's a very small fire going on, which makes me feel better. Wondering what the wood supply will be. I should have probably split some more into smaller pieces, but if I gotta go out in the middle of the night and split some, that's fine. But I'm very curious and maybe even a little anxious to see how it holds the heat in here, and if I'm gonna have a cold night's sleep or what. I don't know. We'll find out. Yeah, you wouldn't want to drag all this stuff out here with my deer cart in the cold weather like this, and think you're setting this up with all the gear. And I mean, you know, even if you were just doing this and you weren't making a video out of it, you know, the cold weather changes things drastically. I mean, dragging stuff out here in the fall for me was fun. It was enjoyable. You know, I love being outdoors, and it wasn't so cold it was uncomfortable. But today it's that cold. You do not want to be out there doing too much, and that's the beauty of this camp. I mean, that's the whole reason why I wanted to be able to hike, do some winter hiking, be out in the woods, go to a destination, and be able to just come in here. And besides having frozen leather gloves, everything's pretty much the way I left it, and it's nice. It's really a cool feeling knowing I can just come here and yeah, it's survive like a base camp. It's cool. It's got that dinner smell to the tent now, which is very cozy. Yeah, it really adds something to it. If I haven't told you already, I'm supposed to be getting the 5-meter version of this. This tent is 3 meters, so 3 meters in diameter, which again, I've confirmed in my mind this is a one-person tent with a wood stove in it, and a dog. Perfect for that. And if you're not recording a video, even better. But certainly a base camp for one person and a dog, absolutely perfect. You can cram 2 people in here, but the pole in the middle, even though it makes sense and it's stable and obviously it's held up with the snow, you know, kind of gets in the way a little bit. It would be nice if you could almost put it up under a tree and hang it, like, you know, suspend the top from a tree branch or something. That would be cool, and get rid of the pole. I don't think it has a loop on top to do that, but it's something to think about. But I am impressed with this tent so far. It's held up really well. I'm coming out here today and seeing, I don't know, it'll be interesting. See how we do in the spring, but so far so good. Nothing warms you up like a nice hot meal cooked over a wood stove. Okay, this is very good. I have to get some. I had to get some of these sausages for Scout. They got to cool off for Scouter. I don't want her burning herself. She doesn't know any better. She'll wolf them down, and then she'll burn her belly, right? We don't want that. So let those cool off for her. I'm gonna eat these. So it's 7:30. We're just sitting down to eat. It's about 6 degrees Celsius in the tent, according to my thermometer. Much colder outside. We've got a nice hot. It's been dark for about 2 hours now. Pretty comfortable. You can probably actually take Scout's coat off, but we'll leave it on for now. She's getting hungry. She can smell the sausage. So I'm going to shut the cameras off. We're going to have our dinner. That'll be it. You can smell it, and now she's hungry. Hey, Scout, are you getting hungry? So what I did was I cooked some sausage for Scout, of course. There they are. But I had to cool them off. You see there's still a bit of a steam coming from them. So if she's not careful, she'll just inhale it all and burn her belly. Cool off quite a bit, actually. So that's going to be Scout's. Okay, Scout, come on, you can have that. Come on, get down. There you go. Good girl. Scout, how is it? Is it good? I even ate the onion. Good girl. Was that good? Are you gonna chase the plate around the floor now? So even though this stove is way too big for this tent, it's really a great stove for cooking on. There's much smaller stoves available, backpacking sort of stoves that are much thinner walled and that sort of thing. When I camped with Joe in the hot tent a year back, he had one, and it was I mean, we cooked on it, but it was small and a little more limited, I think, on what you could cook with it. But I have to say, I love this stove for cooking on. I love that it's got the extra rails on the side so you can slide the pans off. I got my leather gloves drying off on the sides here. So where I am in Ontario, I don't have to worry about wolves. We're a little south of that. Bears are hibernating, so the only real predators that are out in the middle of the night in the woods are coyotes, and packs of coyotes. So we do have quite a few of them. Every once in a while you hear them yelping, and there is a population around here that's really been shooting through the roof. So they're doing well. Ultimately, that's a good thing. If the predators are healthy, it means the prey are healthy as well, and there's lots of them. So that's a good thing, even though we don't like coyotes taking the deer down. Morning, I'm going to make some walnut French toast and some bacon. So that'll be on the menu tomorrow. I gotta tell you, I don't think I'm going to be up too late tonight. Okay, I gotta go scrape out this fry pan and get it cleaned up. That's why I bought a bunch of paper towels. So with the grease from the sausage and everything else, I'm going to go for a nice walk and scrape this, cover it up, wipe off the fry pan so it's nice and clean for breakfast tomorrow. Oh, is it brisk out there? Nice to be inside. Okay, gloves there. Oh, I got a chill. It is cold out there. And it's again 8 degrees Celsius in here. So it's pretty nice. But man, I want to go out and take some video, but it's brisk. Okay, starting to get things ready for bed. Dinner is done. I got my, call it my kitchen. Stovetop's clean. You don't want to leave anything on top of the stove while the fire's going overnight. So it's okay if the cast iron pans get hot, but you don't want them on top of it for no reason, right? So I'll be able to throw some wood in the fire, keep that going. I'm just going to sleep here. Scout doesn't know yet, but she's moving. So far so good. It'll be interesting to see how the wood holds up. Because I mean, you know, it's only 8:30, 9 o'clock, and it's dark till, you know, 7:30. So I'm going to try to ration the wood, keep the damper closed on there, and let it burn nice and slow. It doesn't need to be really warm in here. I just want it around just below, above freezing would be great. So it with the stove being right close, it should be fairly easy to do. I can't say enough about this light. This has worked out really good. I mean, sometimes when I go on these trips and I have ideas for the videos, they don't always work out well. I think it's going to go well, and then usually it doesn't. But the lighting situation actually worked out better than I thought. Hopefully it shows in the video. So the stove is set. It's almost time for me to crawl into the sleeping bag. And yeah, Scout's getting tired. Hey, you getting tired, huh? So yeah, I think we're almost at that point. I'm just going to make sure I got my wood situation set up, so that I just want to be able to reach over and throw wood in the fire. And there's been no fumes in here. I think I made a mistake early on when I first got here. It was so cold. I got a roaring fire going in there, and way too much. I mean, the stovepipe was glowing, and I don't know if that's probably not a good thing. So it was very unnecessary, So lesson learned, you don't really you don't need to crank up a big fire. It's not like this tent holds its heat, right? So it's not like I can have a big fire going and then, well, that'll keep the tent warm for a while. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't hold heat. You got to have that constant slow burn. It's a marathon, not a sprint, right? To keep the tent warm anyways. So it's pretty good. I'm going to do a few more things here. Blow up my pillow, for one thing. What do you want, huh? Yeah, this is my camping pillow. Since I have it out, I'll show you. It's a Sea to Summit. It's called an Arrows pillow. I mean, really any pillow you have camping. I used to, for years, just shove my clothes into my buff or whatever and make a pillow, but I broke down and got myself an inflatable pillow, and to be honest with you, I should have done it a long time ago. It's really comfortable. So 3 puffs, and yeah. Okay, and the secret is not to lose the bag, because it actually does fit in it. Well, I did it again. Put the too much wood in the fire. It's really hot in here now. Yeah, it's over 10 degrees Celsius in here and climbing, so I'm a slow learner, I guess. I only put 2 logs in there, but man, is it kicking out the heat. And I have the damper closed on it. When I say the damper, I'm calling it the holes in the front of the door that slide open and close, so you can let more. And I'm not sure if damper is the right term, because damper is what usually people refer to in the stovepipe. But basically, you're controlling how much air gets into the fire. So if you close it off, then there's not as much air going in, and in theory, I guess it slows down the fire. But I've done that, and it's very warm in here. Whew. So it's like, yeah, 12 degrees Celsius. I'm on top of my sleeping bag, because I definitely do not need to be under it. So again, the biggest challenge on this trip is going to be regulating the heat in this tent. So there's Scouter, and there's the wood stove. So she is not far from the heat. Hey, Scout. So she'll be up for the night. So that is what we got going on. It's I don't know what time it is. My cell phone is dead, and it's definitely below freezing in here. So I just got a fire going. I got a sleeping bag. Oh, I gotta be honest with you, I'm freezing right now. So until this fire gets going, I just wanted to check in and say I just woke up. It's still dark. I have no idea what time it is, and I'll check in with you in a bit. Morning, Scout. As I expected, Scout crawled up on the cot with me. Didn't make it for the most comfortable sleep for me. Well, it doesn't take long for this thing to heat up. I didn't think I made that big of a fire, but it went from -5 Celsius to, I think we're to 12 Celsius right now. Yeah, it's unbelievable. So yeah, just to give you an idea. And I got out of bed about 15 minutes ago, I guess. And because it was cold, the fire died down, and we're sleeping. It's tough to stay keep Scout wrapped up and me wrapped up at the same time, so that was a bit of a challenge. So honestly, woke up because I was a little cold. The fire was out, and it was below the comfort level of my sleeping bag. So it's about, I got my cell phone plugged in, it's about 6 o'clock. It's still dark for about another hour and a half, I guess. But I'm gonna get some coffee going in my percolator. Have a coffee, let the fire die down a little bit. I went through a lot of wood last night. I still have some pieces enough here to cook breakfast, I think, so I should be okay with that. Holy cow. It's almost 20 degrees Celsius. So 10 heats up incredibly fast. Cools down incredibly fast too, though. So it's not like there's any insulation on the canvas walls. So the secret is just to have a steady stream of small wood to get to put in there. I mean, not kindling, but you know, you need an axe to split some of the pieces that you're going to ideally need for a wood stove like this. While the bacon is cooking, I'm going to get the French toast washed ready to go. I'm going to use some walnut bread and throw a little bit of egg and a little bit of milk in here. Mix it up. I'm going to dip the walnut bread in the milk and egg, and I'm going to fry it up and have it with some maple syrup. It's going to be awesome. Breakfast is done. Some walnuts, bread, French toast, some bacon. Give some for Scouter a little bit. Nice thick cut of bacon. Of course, Canadian, you got to have your maple syrup. Drizzle that on there. And a little bit of coffee. My canvas cabin in the woods. Well, thanks for joining me for dinner and breakfast and this whole journey that's been this canvas cabin in the woods for me. It's been a lot of fun. Alright guys, I'm just finishing breakfast. Scout's still sleeping on the cot and I got a mess to clean up now. So I just wanted to kind of go over what happened on this trip. Me and Scout got here, just before dark last night, maybe 5:30 or so. Excuse me. We got in and it was a learning curve as far as getting things ready, and again, videotaping things takes time, right? So my priority coming in here, it was very cold last night, was getting a fire going and getting Scout warm, because it's a long walk in here and she's not a cold weather dog, so she had her jacket on. But once she stops and once I'm kind of setting up cameras around here, she starts to get cold. So I let her in. First thing I did was let her in. She hopped up on the cot and I wrapped her up in the sleeping bags, and that kind of took care of her. and then I switched gears and tried to get the stovepipe in the stove and get a fire going. That was my #1 priority because it was very cold. Having said that, I overdid it with the fire. This thing heats up really quick, so I made a bigger fire than I needed to, and it was over 20 degrees Celsius in here in no time. And the stovepipe was glowing orange. So note to self, I'll have to try to make a smaller fire next time. You never need a big fire here in a small tent like this. So once we got dinner going, dinner went well. It went slow. Just again, the tent is small, so a lot of people are following these videos wanting to get a feel for what this tent's like and is it for you. And it is. It's a great tent, in my opinion, for one person with gear and a dog. You could cram 2 people in here. You wouldn't be able to have cots. You'd have to be on air mattresses on the floor. It does have screens, so you can use this in the summer and keep the bugs out and not need a wood stove. And 2 people would be perfect in here with your gear and that sort of thing. But with a wood stove and a cot, it's pretty much just a 1-person tent, and perfect with the dog and your gear. And for me, filming, it makes for a perfect size tent. And it's 3 meters wide in diameter. The fabric's held up really good. I'm getting a 5 meter in the same model. It'll have actually 2 doors. I'm getting that next, and I'll be curious to see how that compares to size-wise for this. But overall, I mean, I haven't babied this. The floor is filthy. I'm walking on it, dropping things on it. I think it's held up pretty well. I don't see any mildew issues or anything else on the walls. I've literally left this out here for almost 2 months now, and starting in the fall, and when it wasn't cold, so there was a lot of rain, and it looks like it's held up pretty well. When it came and got it this trip, it was covered in snow. So so far so good on that front. Sleeping last night was a bit of a challenge, keeping the temperature. I don't know what I was thinking. I brought my 0 degrees Celsius bag, kind of challenging myself that I would keep the tent warm using the stove. Well, that's a bit of a challenge because it goes from one extreme to the other. You ideally want to keep a small fire going in there to maintain the heat, but then you're constantly feeding the stove. So what I was doing in the middle of the night, I had the wood piled in front. I would kind of reach off the cot and throw a piece of wood in there as I needed it. When I eventually fell asleep, I woke up, the fire was out, and it was really cold in here. It was like -5 Celsius, I think, on the thermometer. So I woke up with a 0 degrees Celsius bag, and I didn't bring any down clothes because I hiked here. Normally in trips where it's cold or potentially cold, I wear down clothing for extended period trips, and I'll have my -2 degrees Celsius sleeping bag, and if it gets really cold, I can wear my down clothes underneath it, and I've not had a problem with that. This particular trip, I guess I committed to having the wood stove for heat, and it was a little cold when the fire went out. So if you want a good night rest, probably just bring a warmer sleeping bag and use the stove at your convenience, sort of thing. If you're relying on it for heat throughout the night, you're not going to get much sleep. So something to think about. The last video I made, I mentioned that I really wanted to help anybody if I could, even though, you know, I'm still a small channel. If I could give a shout out to anybody who is struggling to get some traction with their channels, I'd be more than willing to do that, because like I said, I really appreciate the support I get. I've gotten help in the past, so if I can pass it on to some other people, I'd love to do that. So I'm going to take a minute here and recognize a few channels that people have been communicating with me through emails and Messenger and that sort of thing, and I just wanted to help them out. And if you feel like watching some of their content, go over and check it out. If it's your thing, great. If it's not, fine. But you know, I've done my part to try to help them out and guide viewers toward their channels. So first of all, Alexis Outdoors. She's a woman who has a outdoor channel from, I think she's from the Georgian Bay area. I've talked to her a little bit through Messenger and that sort of thing. And she does great content. I don't know if she creates a lot of it. It's tough, I find, to create content unless you're doing this full time. So that's the biggest challenge. Some people create great videos. It's just hard to create a lot of them. So So next up is Nick's NW Adventures. I'm not sure what the NW stands for, Nick, but Nick communicates with me quite a bit through comments and Messenger, and I've checked out his channel, and he's got a really funny steak challenge one that I checked out, and I thought it was done really well. So go check out Nick's channel and see if there's anything there that you like. I think he's got a lot of great videos that you might enjoy. Dano Bushcraft is contacted me a few different times, and he's starting out a bushcraft channel. The link right here if you want to go check out Dano Bushcraft channel. I'm sure he'd appreciate it. One other channel to give a shout out to, it's Jeff Allen, and he calls his channel Jeff Allen Off the Gridiron. I find it very humbling when people ask me, you know, advice on things, and if I can help out, great. So there's 4 channels if you're interested that maybe you haven't heard of. Go check out. I'm sure they would really appreciate it, and again, it's a community here. The more content everybody gets to enjoy, the better off we all are. So thanks. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Me and Scout are getting ready to leave the base camp. I'm going to cut up some wood before I leave and have it stacked inside the tent, so when I get back here I don't have to do it if I show up in the dark. I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing next time I'm here, so I want to make sure I'm prepared. So if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. If you have any comments, good or bad, let me know. I really appreciate everything I hear back from viewers. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And we got another one in the books. Cheers. Thanks.